Yo guys, what is up? Max for Diablo 4 video, and today we are going over the best experience and leveling method to get your characters up to level 100 as fast as possible during the new Mother's Embrace event. Now, if you did not know, from now, November 20th to November 27th, a week, we are going to be earning 35% increased experience on your characters to level them up as fast as possible. You're also going to be earning 35% more gold. This is on top of the already 40% experience buff that they gave us this season. And today I've done a lot of testing. I've leveled characters before the event and after the event. And I want to talk to you guys about what is the best experience farm right now in the game so that you can be the most efficient in leveling up your new characters or existing characters to level 100 during this event. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get right into it. So for the format of this video, we're going to be breaking it down into sections. We've got a level 1 to 45 section, a 45 to like 55 section, 55 to about 65, and then 65 to 100. And for starting out, level 1 through 45, the absolute best farm in the entire game is the Domhain tunnels. If you want to do this farm, you're going to want to work your way over to Korbach. If you're going to be starting this farm, I do recommend just doing the very start of the seasonal quest to earn your vampire powers. Domhain tunnels has a ton of very aggressive, hard-hitting enemies, and getting the vampire power just off the rip undying that every time you cast a spell, you're going to get healing, and then you can also grab some more vampire powers. It's just really nice for some early survivability. So boot up the game, new character, do the start of your season quest, unlock vampire powers, and then come immediately to the Domhain tunnels. So the Domhain tunnels is such a good farm because of the enemy density in it. There is just a ton of enemies packed into a little bit of space. For this dungeon, to run it efficiently, what you're going to want to do is kill all the enemies in the first area. Do not interact with any of the prisoners. There's an objective to like free 5 or 7 prisoners. That objective is a pain in the butt to do because every time that you're interacting with one of them and there's an enemy nearby and they hit you, it'll stop you from actually being able to like free that prisoner. And what turns out to be is that every time that you interact, because there's so many monsters, you just never get a chance to actually do the objective. So what's the fastest thing to do is kill all of the monsters in the first area, ignore the objective, and then as soon as you're done with the dungeon, you go to your dungeon like wheel, hit leave dungeon, and then you can leave the dungeon, go to the front of it, and then you can reset the dungeon and run it back and forth. If you're efficient, you can do this whole thing in about a minute, just clearing the first area, pop up, reset your dungeon, and then go right back in. Now, if you're in a group, it's possible to get level 1 to 45 in about 2 hours of doing this. Solo, it took me about 3 hours to get to like 1 to 45. And then as soon as, in my opinion, you're 45, obviously you can do it sooner or you can do it later if you are feeling confident or not as confident in your character. But as soon as you're feeling decently confident in your character and your build, basically if you can clear this dungeon relatively efficiently, you should be ready for the World Tier 3 dungeon. Now, the World Tier 3 dungeon can be found in Kiovashad. It's at the top in this little temple, and you're going to want to do that as soon as you can and as soon as you feel ready, because you're going to be earning a ton more experience in World Tier 3. Now that you're in World Tier 3, enemies are going to be harder, and you're going to need to get geared up before you can efficiently clear. And the best way to get geared, if you're ever missing an aspect, or you need some legendaries, or if you ever need gear at all this season, the absolute best way to get geared in terms of just legendaries is the Blood Harvest event and just killing enemies in the like Blood Harvest area. You will get a ton of legendaries from Blood Harvest. You'll get a ton of aspects. You'll get a ton of resources. It's really, really good. So if at any point you feel like you need some legendaries or you need some gear, come to the Blood Harvest. On World Tier 3, even when you're coming in here at like level 45, you're going to be getting your first Sacreds. You can use those first Sacreds to come do a Helltide. Helltides are also great sources of XP and getting some gear once you're in World Tier 3. But the ultimate goal is to do Helltides and do the Bloody Harvest so that you can get gear to come back to the dopamine tunnels or the Domhain tunnels and clear that because this is still going to be your best source of experience even on World Tier 3. It's just so good. So get your gear from Blood Harvest, get your gear from Helltides, get your build set up, upgrade your items, come to Domhain tunnels and start blasting it. And this should take you to about level 55 relatively easily. Level 55 or level 54, depending on where you're feeling good, is about a pretty good area to come and do the World Tier 4 dungeon. The World Tier 4 dungeon is where things get pretty serious. The boss, you're going to want a lot of fire resistance for. Do not come to this boss without at least probably 70% fire resistance. It'll make your life way easier, and you're going to want to be coming with a decent amount of legendaries. You're going to have the semblance of a build together. Hopefully, you have a semblance of a build together, and you should have no issues with the Fallen Temple World Tier 4 thing. And you're going to want to get to World Tier 4 as fast as possible, because then you're going to be earning another 100% increased experience. Now that we're on World Tier 4, we're going to be kind of running into the same issue that we ran into in World Tier 3. The enemies are going to be hitting a lot harder, and we're going to want to get ancestral items. Well, once again, coming to the Blood Harvest, the vampire area, is going to be really important. It's going to give you your very first ancestrals and decent gear. You're also going to want to be doing Hell Tides. Hell Tides will drop higher level gear from what I found, and you can also get your very first or start opening those like 300 shard chests to get your very first Greg kills. Once you get to like level 65, you should be able to do Greg, who's going to be dropping you item like 900 items or close to that, which is a massive damage boost. But Hell Tides and the Blood Harvest event are going to be really good up until you get to about level 65. You're going to want to do these, get geared, and you can go do the Domhain tunnels up until about level 65. You can go Domhain all the way to level 70, but level 70 is kind of the hard cap for where you should no longer be doing this dungeon at all. And the reason for this is the changes in experience. Now, when you're on World Tier 4, the enemies will start scaling with you, but the enemies are going to be level 75. When you come here in World Tier on World Tier 4 at level 55, it doesn't matter your level, the enemies will be a minimum of level 75. That's just what World Tier 4 is. And with the changes to experience that they did in the season of Malignant, in order to be earning the most experience per hour, you want to be killing enemies that are level or 10 levels higher than you. And the big thing of the reason why the Domhain tunnel starts to fall off is because we no longer gain the ability to regulate their level in World Tier 4, because at a certain level, they're only going to be a few levels higher than us. They're going to stop being 10 levels higher than us. In World Tier 4, when you first get here, if you do your Blood Harvest and you do your Hell Tides, you're going to be coming in here at level 56, 57, and they're going to be level 75. As you can see, right now, I'm level 73, and they're still 75. And so I just tested this, and doing this at level 73, with them being level 75, I was averaging about 58 million experience an hour. 51 million experience an hour, which is still a lot of experience, but that experience is going to start to fall off in terms of its usefulness to you, and also just how fast you're going to be leveling here. So basically, once you get to World Tier 4, get geared, come to Domhain, do this until you're about level 65, and then you're going to want to swap to Nightmare Dungeons. Now, not all Nightmare Dungeons are created equal. Maxroll.gg has a great solo experience Nightmare Dungeon solo experience farming tier list, where you can see that the S tier solo leveling dungeons are Deserted Underpass, Sirocco Caverns, Sanguine Chapel, and then we've got D and like F tier like Heathen's Keep and Tormented Ruins. Now, I recently tested this without any incense popped, any potions popped for increased experience, and before the Mother's Embrace event gets buffed, because currently it's only giving 25% experience, and it should be giving 35% experience. And in one run of Sirocco, I got 5.2 million experience in about a 3-minute and 20-second run, which calculates out to, if I could just run Siroccos, just doing that for an hour, that's 96 million experience an hour, and that is without all the XP buffs. I should be getting even more, like 15% more if I popped a potion, plus they fixed this Mother's Embrace event, and it's only 487 million experience total to get to level 100 from level 1. So right now, doing Nightmare Dungeons, you're going to want to do dungeons that the enemies are 10 levels higher than you. You want to make sure that you keep doing dungeons that enemies are 10 levels or higher than you, and you are going to be earning hundreds of millions of experience an hour, and this would be even better if I was in a group because I could do it faster and I would get the group experience multiplier. So like easily 100 mil experience an hour in a group right now, but that is just for the S tiers. Now the issue with dungeons is that, once again, not all dungeons are created equal. So what I also tested is I went and grabbed a C tier dungeon. I did Conclave. Now, Conclave is listed as a C tier. I think for like the purpose of this, you're going to want to avoid anything in the D and F tier. And let's say we just run A, B, and C tier and S tier dungeons. But if we go down and look at a C tier dungeon, which is Conclave, that was giving me about 58 million experience per hour. And when I ran the dopamine tunnels, that gave me 51 million experience per hour. So even doing like C tier, not great nightmare dungeons, once you get to like level 70, is going to be a better experience farm than doing just like dopamine tunnels. Nightmare dungeons are going to be the better experience farm. And they have the added benefit of giving you sigil experience so that you can actually increase your power levels so that you can keep pushing into those higher and higher tiers. And that's kind of the summary of our XP video. So to simplify this, from level 1 to 65, your main focus is dopamine tunnels or Domhain tunnels. And when you need gear, you do blood harvest and hell tides. Once you're level 65, do not go into dopamine tunnels anymore. Focus on nightmare dungeons, focus on leveling your sigils, and you will get to level 100 in no time. We've never had experience gains this crazy. Just to give you an example of the best experience farm, last season, Domhain tunnels at level like 90 or 100 was 60 million experience an hour. And now we've got dungeons that are going to be getting into the 100 million experience an hour relatively easy this season. So yeah, now is a great time to level, and I hope this guide helped you in determining what you should be doing to hit level 100 the fastest. I will catch y'all in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.